we are back. Whew.
All right. Does everybody remember who you are? What you're doing?
I think so. I'm just kidding.
All right. So next we'll cut to the place that they take you. So up on the roof of the school. So you're led around the back where there's like a wide open area. It's got a one of those metal like half domes for climbing on. But the dome has been covered in like tarps. There's a bunch of other sort of miscellaneous stuff around. Some like a car that's engine has been removed and replaced with like a planter. There's like a little like farm almost that's been built with some soil with plants in it. And it's like obvious now that you're back here that like people live here all the time. Like this is like an active enclave. And they the people that are here, they don't explain anything to you. They don't really talk until you get around the back. You see the little farm. They lead you up like a ladder, I guess, and onto the roof. And when you get onto the roof, the woman in charge, she unclips her respirator and takes it off. And you can see she's got like a red line like on her face, like she's been wearing it for hours, and she like rubs her face. And at that, Tyne, the beacon, and the other two, one of whom her name is Brentwood, and the last you don't know his name. They all take their respirators off, and the woman looks at you. And up here they've got some like standing lights that are plugged in and lit, so there's like a faint like light. And she says to you, just kind of as an assembled group, she's like, okay, well, should be safe up here. We're gonna need the doctor to look at you though. How long were you downstairs?
Long enough to deep brain scan this guy who I'm leaning on.
Yeah, so how did you justify being like in physical contact with him the whole time?
I just pretended I had like a limp or something, like I was unable to walk.
Okay. Yeah, I think you had the time.
All right. Going on a fact-finding mission inside this guy's brain.
Okay.
So I would love to hear about some secret pains of this character.
Okay. So this character.
What's the name of this person that I'm clinging on to?
This is Amble.
Amble. Okay.
Yeah. So the group was Tyne, which is the kid with the beacon pin. The woman who introduces herself as Metropolis. There's Brentwood, who you know, and Amble. And Brentwood and Metropolis are women. Tyne is a kid. He's maybe like 13. And then Amble is also a dude. He's older. And so it's Amble that you're brain scanning. And you wanted secret pain?
Yep.
Okay. So what does it look like as you brain scan? Like for you, because we're seeing it from Gritch's weird psycho point of view.
Yeah, so I think in this case I'm like finding my way to this person inside the weird like sinking ship metaphor from previous episodes. So I'm like walking down the halls and like looking for a room with Amble like has like a nameplate on it, and I open that up and I kind of like walk into this space, which is like maybe a series of scenes.
Yeah,
so I walk through these scenes, and so it's not like I'm explicitly like I want to see Amble's secret pains.
Right, Amble is showing you.
And that's the first one.
Okay, so as you walk through the hallway, I think the doors, like the plates on the doors, read like candle, crumble, like things that are close. Mm-hmm. And then you find Amber. You find Amble's door and pass through it, and the first place you are is like a wide then this might be like for you might be sort of really the most surreal. Not so much that it's a maelstrom thing, but you step out into a wide, dry plain. It's like a huge, like gray desert, like arroyo, and there's like the kind of vague ghost of mountains somewhere in the distance. And you see Amble sitting just like cross-legged in the desert, and there's around them, probably out like 2 meters, 6 feet, distant from them, are empty like vessels of all kinds, like coffee mugs and glass cups and plastic cups and bowls, and like just in all like this circle, this perfect circle around them. They're just sitting cross-legged, staring into these like empty cups. And you feel a sense that Amble's, like all of Amble's pains are secret. But that's not Amble's fault. Amble isn't like defending himself. It's just like
that everyone forgets about him when they aren't looking at him.
Yeah. And it's a shared pain. And I think that's the most like predominant sense in his mind, is like this sense of like they're all burdened with this same isolation.
Cool.
And at the same time, like it's weird because it's isolation, but it's also a fear of being isolated from the other people who are isolated with him.
Yeah, like trapped together.
Yeah, exactly.
And in what ways are his mind and soul vulnerable? Actually, let's ask that one last. First, I want to ask what he craves forgiveness for.
Okay. So you pass through the desert, and you find a door. It's like a school door, like one of the wooden sort of cracked blue paint doors. You open it, you walk into a classroom, and the classroom has like cots laid out on it. And Amble is standing up, and he seems to be like getting dressed. And there's someone on the cot next to him. There's a woman, and you immediately, because you're seeing this through Amble's mind, you immediately recognize that this person isn't from here. And Amble has just done something that, like, this interaction is not in this person's best interests, but they're going to forget about it, so it doesn't fucking matter. Mm-hmm. And Amble is just getting ready to disappear. Amble like is getting up, and the person seems sort of despondent, and Amble just like is walking away. And the weakness there and stuff is that like the person forgot the bad thing that Amble did, but Amble can't forget it.
Yeah. What's that person's name?
Let me find a name for you from beyond the list.
Leverage.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go find them. Okay, this person's name is let's say Preen.
Preen? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And then vulnerable. How?
Okay, so this one is weird in that you're being shown this not through, it's like looking at something through the lens of Amble, not Amble's brain or Amble telling you this, but the Maelstrom saying Amble's biggest like danger, the thing that's coming for Amble. And you see Mercer's Hold, you see the market, and you see Nowhere, the like guy in the orange coat. Yeah, nothing. And he's like delivering this like this sermon, and you know, like he turns and like looks at you. Like, you're not really there, but he makes eye contact with you, and you know that he's the biggest threat to Amble, him personally and his followers.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so this is maybe something that Amble doesn't realize.
Oh yeah, Amble has no idea.
Okay, cool. Well, great.
So you learn that on your little journey. Okay, so everybody's upstairs. Metropolis is staying, and Tyne is staying, but Amble and Brentwood both kind of like offload you and go to like attend to other things because there's stuff to do.
We don't know how long we were in the mold, do we? Frankie would know.
I mean, yeah, maybe an hour at most, like getting the desk
Yeah.
moved and like hanging out in there.
Roughly, I would say maybe a little less, but around that. Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'll tell them that.
okay. So she looks around, like she looks at Tyne, like she's going to tell him to do something, and then she realizes, like, nope. She's like, okay, I'm going to go get the doctor. You stay with Tyne. In fact, that's the rule. Okay. If you can't see him, she points, you've done something horribly wrong. Tyne, stay with them. And Tyne kind of like, you can see while she's talking, Tyne like seems like he kind of like puffs his chest up a little bit, like, yep, I'm important. You can't leave. Eyes up here, everybody. And so she walks off towards one of the portables up on the roof to go and find the doctor to like take a look at you.
I turn to Tyne. What is this mold? What does it do?
He looks at you and he says, bad for the lungs. I don't know anything else. Doctor knows everything about it. We're okay, mostly. But other people
Why are you
get
so scared
sick.
of it?
He's like, I'm not scared of it. It's just mold. You should be scared of it, outsider. Like,
I'm not the
scowls.
one wearing a mask.
Yeah, well, you're obviously not very smart, are you?
So as he starts to
I
like
must
give
have
lip,
forgotten.
Yeah.
he already tried to make himself big, so I just kind of step one step closer. And just
Okay, he
kinda-
steps. He's stepping towards him, and he steps back. He's like, Navarre, hold on. Sorry. Like, looks at Gritch.
Like-
I didn't mean to.
Yeah. I'll lean back in my heels, but I'm still standing in the same place. I'm just yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm sorry. I just like, I've had this conversation a lot. And like, when he says that, he looks at Navarre like, and there's a conspiratorial look, but it doesn't obviously it doesn't get returned, right? He's like, like the look, and Frankie, I think you catch it, is like outsiders. Am I right? Like, man.
Interesting.
And so I'll give him a look and be like, or maybe I used to have a mask, and the last time I was here, you took it, and I just can't remember.
He puts his hands up. He's like,
how would I ever know?
He doesn't have an answer for that.
The point is we don't remember, so knock the attitude off. That's all I say. And then I wait patiently and I stare at the beacon.
Okay.
Intently.
And now I'm sure it's very frustrating, but please remember that we have a whole host of other burdens that we carry. And so like I'm trying to like build some common ground, some empathy.
Sure. Yeah.
I have to be the good cop and the bad cop all in one person. Very difficult.
Yeah, I want to know, like, Frankie, what are you doing while you're waiting for them to bring somebody to take a look at you?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. It's starting to add up in her head. Like, they know us. We've forgotten all about them. There's something wrong here that Gritch doesn't understand either.
I totally understand. What are you talking about? I know everything.
I think she's starting to feel like she's letting her guard down, kind of. Like, the pieces are coming together where this maybe has happened before, and Navarre's riding downstairs. This kid is like kind of chummy. It's all kind of like floating in the back of her mind, and like, again, we haven't really established a whole lot how we react to this, because this is something that happens to us.
Yeah.
Not something you can really get used to because you forget it.
Yeah.
So every time is the first time, kind of, except we all kind of know that you forget things.
Right.
It's it's weird middle ground. So I think she's right. She's in the middle of that like coping process, for going from everything's super confusing and don't know how to deal with it to, okay, all right, we have a history. I don't know what it is yet. I'm gonna let this play out and kind of see where it goes. And maybe that's what has happened with us in the past. Like it's actually happened in this series. We've woken up on a boat together in various ways, and have kind of let our relationship sort of just re-gel and recontinue. So that's her mode. She's sliding out of captain mode, I need to be in control of everything, to like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's something here. We're reconnecting pieces from the past. I'm going to let it play out. I'm not going to try to boss this around. I'm just going to wait and see.
Cool. And Navarre, Eugene is standing like close to you. He seems to have managed to like more or less recover, and is definitely like using your presence as like a grounding sort of influence. And he whispers to you, Navarre. He's like, "How do these people know who you are?"
I was gonna say at this point, I think with the reaction with the kid, I would say to him, you seem to know who I am. Why?
He says, he kind of looks around and he's like, everybody here knows who you are.
I mean, I get that a lot of the world knows who I am, but you seem to know me. Like, you seem to know me well enough to talk to me like we're friends. Why do you know me?
He kind of laughs when you say that, and he's like, "Oh, you don't remember, friends." Well, I mean, it works better for me. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Please, like I'm just joking around. So you don't remember anything about the last time, but before that, the thing with the fishers. You're gonna have to talk to Burns. It was supposed to be different. And he like looks down, like he's kind of bummed now. Like he's like, like he maybe thought you were just fucking with him before and be like, nope, no, I don't remember you, haha. But now he realized you're being serious, and he's just like, oh, shit.
As I said, we all have our own things to bear.
Mm-hmm. Can I read him again?
Yeah. Have you? I don't think you've read Time before.
Or no, I haven't.
Yeah.
I think I read the guy in the door and then I failed. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So that's sharp again. That's my first at least a partial success of the day.
Yes. You did it. Mostly. What would you like to know?
I forgot.
And you can always hold it, and then ask him, like ask him a question, and then be like, "Is that true?"
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's as long as you're interacting. So if you have a specific question you want a real answer to.
The question I want, or what I want to know is if he has, well, no, hold on. He's not. I guess I would, I don't know. I'm getting confused.
Benoit is like hesitating or whatever, like grit. So are you gonna like keep asking him questions, Navarre?
You can hold the question if you want. You
I'll
get a
hold it.
read on him, and then yeah.
I'll hold it because I don't, nothing applies, because really all I care about right now is making sure that we're safe and he's not a threat to me. So
Okay.
And so Gritch is just gonna be like, yeah, there's some other things we can't remember right now. Like something went wrong on our boat nearby. You seem to have a good sense of what's been happening lately. I was wondering if maybe you could tell me.
He looks at you and he's like, "You talk to Metropolis about that."
Oh,
He's like, "I'm just the beacon."
yes, very helpful in that capacity. Thank you, by the way.
He like scowls you. He's like, "What? You want me to just get up and leave, and you forget all this? You wake up on top of a building and shit your pants? Is that what you want?"
I look at him and I say, do you really think it's a good idea to be talking to us like this? Didn't we just go over this? Obviously, we're all safe here. You need to calm down. And I'm starting to get heated. Like I'm getting bigger and closer at this point.
I think this time he scowls at you. Like he just looks at you like, "That's a bad idea."
Oh man, like I want to push him, but he's our beacon.
I think when you start to take like you were saying, you like make yourself a little bigger and stuff. Like Eugene puts his hand on your arm, and it's like, whoa, chill.
Navarre gets very upset when we start forgetting things. and I'm like, you
I
know,
think if
offering
they're
to
all
like
chiming in, I
threat
am
for violence.
calming down, but it's like I'm about to push our beacon off the roof.
Yeah, it's a tense situation for sure.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I really can't guarantee what Navarre will do when she gets like this. I mean, you should be very careful right now, friend. Like,
Well, and the interesting thing about the situation, I think, too, is that you can't disengage, right? Like you can't look away. And there's all this other stuff on the roof that you haven't had a chance to examine yet. But if you look away from him, then you'll get all confused again. So it's like everybody is focused, and I think you can sense that he's starting to feel a little uncomfortable because he doesn't necessarily like. I mean, it's his job to be the center of attention, but he just wants everybody to shut up and look at him and not like keep interrogating him about things.
yeah, so I think I'm pushing with like the threat of Navarre's violence. I'm just like, yo, you need to like cooperate with me or like whatever, or things are gonna go poorly for you.
So what do you want from him? You just want him to like. I mean, it sounds like one of you is going aggro on this guy because you're threatening. I mean, you're threatening violence, and yeah, I mean, it sounds like Navarre is starting to chill out, but you're not. You're like.
If Navarre is doing it, I would say it's going aggro. I think I'm more using the idea of Navarre as a violent person as leverage,
them?
more so than
that's manipulation because you can't actually follow through on the threat.
Yeah, like because I can't do it, right? I'm just being like, hey, you remember how like
I love that differentiation. Like if a violent person does it, it's like go aggro. But if the violent person sidekick is like, yeah, he's gonna beat you up, then it's
like I can't make Navarre beat anyone up.
Yeah, all right, do it.
So
see what happens when I let control of the situation.
Right?
Oh,
yeah.
So I get a 9.
Okay, Navarre's gonna have to do something violent, or he's not gonna believe you.
I think then what I do is, because I'm like, it's like taking everything I can not to touch him. So I think what I do, because I don't want to break eye contact with him, is I put my hand on his head and I put his eyes into mine. And I look at him and I say, I don't care if I forget you. If you don't stop acting like this, you're going off the roof.
Okay, so now you're going aggro on him.
A little bit.
So he believes.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, he believes you, Gritch, because it's happening now.
Do I roll?
Yes, yeah, roll plus your hard.
Oh wait, that's a good thing, right? Thank God.
Yeah, that's the thing you're good at.
Yes, I succeeded.
All right, so his choices are to.
I'm not trying to hurt this. This is a child, so like I'm
You're
not
thr-
trying to like scrape his
explicit-
head or something.
You threaten to throw him off the roof.
I mean, yeah, if he doesn't stop, but I'm not trying to like crush his bones. That's
So
all I'm saying.
his choice is to do what you want or force your hand. In which case,
Oh, sure.
Throw him off the roof.
off the roof. But thankfully, he's gonna cave and do what you want. Being respectful is like less an awful thing to him than being thrown off the roof. So yeah, so he's just like he pulls away from you, and looks at you with like a little bit of heartbreak. Like this isn't the thing the real Navarre would have done to me. You used to be cool, man. But he doesn't say any of that. It's all communicated with this like sense of like hurt, disappointed fear. And he like backs away from you and like sulks. Like he just puts his arms over his chest and is like, fine, whatever. And, like sits down on an upside down milk crate and just kind of like looks around. And makes a point of looking really interestedly at things that you can't look at.
Oh my God, what a child.
How the fuck do you know Navarre? I think is what Gritch says next.
He looks at you and says, "How do you know her?"
All right, enough.
Children.
Gritch just like squints as if like you're really taking that tactic with me. Like, what?
Yeah, Frankie just snaps and is like, everyone shut your mouth. We're going to wait for Metropolis. And we're going to talk to her, and that's that.
All right. So does everybody shut up? Has the captain spoken?
Yeah, I really don't want to cause any trouble, and I like really want to keep this beacon on because I'm so like in my head I'm like want to search my armor for things, but like I need to focus. So in this heat of the moment, stuff is probably totally like half a distraction. So
Yeah.
I'll listen to Frankie.
I mean, I think some part of the back of your brain, Navari, is like, you could just kill all of them and you wouldn't have to deal with this anymore. Like,
Absolutely.
you could feel that rising.
Yeah. I suppress
Yeah, I
it
can
though
feel
because
that
I don't
too.
like to be alone, and I'm not trying to be alone right now. Like that was the reason I went and found our crew, right? So like I don't really want to kill everybody all the time. I just
Yeah.
want everybody to let me have it.
Well, why don't we
sometimes.
cut to Metropolis? And,
Yeah, I think that's as good a time for Metropolis and the Doctor to come back. So yeah, Metropolis comes back, and she's with another woman who is a little younger, like probably in her like mid-30s, whereas Metropolis is like probably 50 or so. And the woman, so Metropolis, just because you can get a better look at them now because you're out in the light. They're both black. Metropolis and this woman look like they might be related, like they're like sisters or cousins, or like the woman, if Metropolis had a kid when she was really young, they might be related that way, like it might be your daughter. And the Doctor has like one arm terminates just under the elbow, just like missing her arm. And she's got a bag in the other arm, like a black leather bag. And she's not dressed the same way. She doesn't have like the combat boots and the like black and gray like fatigues that everybody else seems to have. She's wearing like a heavy wool sweater with like a black raincoat over top of it. Like she looks like she's just come outside from being inside. Like her hair is still dry enough you can see it getting damp from the rain. And so she walks up, and Metropolis says to the group, the first thing she does is she thanks Tyne. So she's like, "Thank you, Tyne," and Tyne says back to her, like, "It's my duty to shine." And you get the impression that it's a ritualistic like phase, like a phrase that they have to say to him every time they're away and they come back. There's more to it than that. You get that this is a part of a larger thing.
Yeah.
And then he seems to calm down a little bit and like relax. And Metropolis says, "This is our doctor, Burns." And Burns kind of nods in way of greeting. And Metropolis says, "I guess Navari." No, they don't even ask. The doctor goes to you first, and she just starts like looking at you because you're. I mean, she recognizes you and walks over, and she's like, starts asking questions like, how long were you outside? How long have you been near the clave? How long were you in the school? Take a deep breath for me. Like, how does that feel? Do you feel any pain in your chest? And it's just kind of like walking you through that stuff. How do you respond to the doctor?
I think before I let the doctor talk to me, now that I've kind of understand that the boy seems to know me and was disappointed, I would immediately just say, "Listen, it seems like you guys know me, and it should have been clear, but if it's not, I do not remember you or the situation, and I'm trying to protect my crew here, and we're having some trouble understanding, and I think we need a little bit more insight if I'm going to continue to keep my cool, because you seem to understand this type of threat I can present."
She nods and kind of laughs, and she's like, "Understand the threat? Yes, that's one way of putting it. We remember. We'll talk about all of that later." And she like looks over her shoulder, and you get the unstated like, "We'll talk about it when your friends aren't around." And she just goes back to doing the doctor routine and like checking on you. And when she gets to your face, the wound on your face, she's like, "How did this happen?" Because it's still fresh, right? You're like still bleeding.
It doesn't mean anything to what you're looking for. So,
well, you're gonna need stitches.
I mean, stitch them up. It's not mold related.
All right, I'll check.
If they're not going to give me anything, I'm not going to give them anything. That's the reality. I'm pissed right now. Like I'm holding it in, but I'm pissed.
I'll check on the rest of your friends, and then we'll get back to you.
Sure.
And so she goes from person to person. And while she's doing that, Metropolis, I think, is going to have a conversation with Frankie. So she comes over, and she's got her gun, in her holster on her hip, and it's, you can see just looking at it, like it's well used, right? Like she, like the handle is like worn, and she walks over and kind of like looks you up and down, and he says, "So I have to ask you, what are you doing here?"
That's an interesting question because Frankie doesn't remember.
Didn't we talk about how we did remember the whole like you're wanting to drop me off on the island thing? Like that was something
But
that's
that was Smith July's idea, wasn't it? So
Yeah, I mean, you can
actually
remember
that.
Yeah, you remember having, like, you have Tao's body on board, and Tao is sick, and Gritch is sick, and, like, yeah, you remember the plan, but you also probably don't want to admit, like, hey, we were here to drop off this diseased guy who has a disease.
Okay, yeah. For some reason, I thought I had forgotten why you were here.
No, you just don't remember why the boat is fucked up, and you don't remember anything about the fight. You remember why you came. Because the clave was abandoned, right? So you wanted to bring him here, but it was, like, a safe place he could hide.
Right, yeah. She says, business. Why are you here?
She's like, we live here.
I guess I don't look around. I keep my eye on her. I would normally kind of glance around. I'm like, okay.
She sees you hesitate, and she's like, it's okay. And she, like, holds her hand up and, like, moves her hand out wherever you want to, like, turn your head. And, like, brings it back.
Yeah, so I kind of glance around and see now, like, there are other people around, and there's like habitation.
Yeah. Totally. You see, like, some guy, like, up on a ladder, like, with a ratchet, like, fixing something on one of the portables. There's maybe 6 people total that you can see out on the roof.
Okay.
Another 3 on top of the ones that are here.
When she draws her hand back, I'm like, well, that's news to me. We thought it was abandoned, and now we know it's not.
She nods. She's like, story I heard more than once. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of starting to get that. So we've been here before, huh?
She looks at Navarre. Some of you are familiar faces. Looks at Gritch. Some not. You seen your boat around? We never done trade or anything, but we know who you are.
I'm gonna read her before I continue this.
Sure. Yeah, and like this isn't by any means a private conversation. So Gritch, you're in earshot. Yeah, Navarre, you're in earshot. You can speak up. You're all kind of sitting within range of each other. Nice.
Ooh, nice.
Mr. Roll, John.
Fire. Okay, so she says you've seen your boat around, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah. What happened to the boat?
She shakes her head. She's like, what do you mean what happened to the boat?
Somebody messed up my engine, and I know it wasn't anybody on my crew. And you're the only other people around. Tell me about that.
She's like, that's a lot of assumptions.
Yeah, well, you want to clear it up?
She says, I don't know. We heard gunfire, an explosion, another explosion. Came down to check it out. By then you were already in the school.
Mm-hmm. So we were just on our boat shooting at each other? Is that your version of the story?
She's like, I don't know who you were shooting at, but it wasn't me. It wasn't any of them. She like gestures like around on the roof.
So she says, I don't know who you were shooting at. Is she telling the truth?
No, she's lying to you.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I let her know with my look that I know she's lying. I give her a more steely, harder look. I'm like, you want to try that again?
She's like, hey, you're the one with memory problems.
I kind of like perk up a little like when she said, like, not perk up exactly, but like I kind of insert myself into the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like stand next to Frankie.
You're gonna have bigger problems than memory problems if you're not straight with me. What's going on here?
She like looks around and kind of like takes the place in. Seems like she's thinking of the way that she wants to phrase what she's going to say, and she says, "It's just another settlement. We live here, grow food. We have an advantage. Some folks don't. Get forgotten. People wander in sometimes. We try to turn them around, send them back out. I mean, I'm sure you heard of the place, right? Nice safe spot up in the hills. Who knows where everybody went? We get raiders sometimes, but we don't fight back. Let them take a little, keep things hidden. Then they go, just like you're going to. Ain't gonna remember any of this anyway."
Question.
Yes.
Do I remember all those details about Amble?
Yes, I think deep brain scan. You remember a person named Amble exists and the things about them, but they're still kind of hazy. Like, you might not recognize Amble if you saw him again, but you definitely know that, like, you could put the two together. You filed that file away somewhere.
Gritch is gonna like do the gambit and just be like, "I remember Amble," and like shoot her a look. And
But
it's like, I'm
how
hoping
do
that
we
she's
still
not
remember
Amble.
her? Is that the point of the beacon, though? Like,
Yeah, so it's the effect is changing the longer you're around. So yeah, like she went away, but when she came back, you had and then maybe this. So she says this. She looks at Tyne and is like, "That's the beacon." Tyne makes that happen.
when he's gone, they'll be gone.
Tyne carries a weight. One of us always has to do it, and when Tyne's turns up, it'll be somebody else's duty to shine. As long as he's around, you'll have an easier time remembering.
And I shoot her a little smile, like, "Oh, I'm sure it was him."
Yeah, I mean, she maybe doesn't even pick up on your threat. Maybe like she literally just thinks that you were like, "Yeah, I remember Amble," and she's like, "Yeah, of course you do. That's normal."
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So based on what she just said, like especially about like people come and we let them steal and then we let them leave,
Yeah.
I would like to ask, what does she wish we would do?
She wishes you would go along with it. Like, it's funny because she's kind of doing the whole like letting you in on the top level secrets to like earn your trust, because A, something else is going on, and B, she knows you're gonna forget it anyway. So she can be like, "Welcome to our secret kingdom. Look, here's all our secrets and all the cool stuff we have. You're gonna forget it anyway, haha." But also, she is very actively distracting you while something else is going on
Yeah,
elsewhere.
I know what that is, but Frankie doesn't.
She would like you to continue being distracted with all this weird memory bullshit while they steal your boat.
Oh yeah, totally. Of course.
Yeah.
I
I mean, you won't even remember, so it's
I think
fine.
Gritch will pipe in with just, "Well, it's a good thing the boat's broken. Stuck here.
She says,
I can get to know all of you."
"Yeah, well, we don't have a lot of extra food or water for all of y'all. We're willing to keep you for the night. This storm looks like it's going to get worse before it gets better, but come morning, you're going to have to fix your boat and get out of here."
Yeah. We'd like to get out of here right now. How about that?
She looks at the doctor and Burns shakes her head. She's like, "That's a bad idea. I have to look over the rest of you. You might be sick. There's a real bad mold in the school. Kills people dead. And if you've been in there very long, you should stay long enough for me to get a good look at you." Run some
"Oh, I'm a
tests.
doctor."
Yeah, I think it.
Yeah.
If we want to go, we're gonna go. So
We got our own doctor and
Okay, so Burns, when you say that, Navarre, like, if we're gonna go, we're gonna go. And Burns is like, "Please, Navarre, like, please don't go before we have this conversation. Like, I really need to talk to you."
somebody needs to have this private conversation with me then. Otherwise, we're out. That's all I have.
So Burns and Metropolis share a look, and Metropolis, like, she nods, and she and Burns like comes over to you and is like, "Okay, come here," and like puts her arm around you and like goes to like lead you away.
Am I gonna be able to see this beacon still? Like,
You ask that? Like
Yeah.
about the
like I'm.
Um,
Yeah. How are
okay,
you-
Burns is like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay.
I don't.
Which is like straight up not an answer, but
Yeah, I'm not gonna
But you-
leave eyesight of that kid.
you can try and read her if you want.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, you can ask one question.
What was the last thing they said?
You said, "What about the beacon?" She said, "Don't worry about it. It's
Is the
okay."
character telling the truth?
Yeah. I mean, you'll be okay. Like, she has an agenda, but you can if you want to. You can ask a more specific question and then ask.
Am I going to forget as soon as I stop looking at this beacon?
No,
Okay. Cool.
no, you'll be okay. You're still within range.
Okay. I'll go.
Okay.
I have my last read on Metropolis before this happens.
Yeah.
What does she intend to do here?
Right now, just like go through the motions of like having you looked at, keep you overnight to let whatever's happening happen, and then turn you loose. But that'll be it. You won't remember any of it.
After thoroughly distracting us, she can do something else.
Yeah, while you're distracted, something else it's happening now.
Yeah. No, I don't think Navari should go anywhere. I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay.
I'll stop. Because it's Frankie. I guess we need to have this conversation in front of everyone.
Yeah, I look at Metropolis. I give her that steely look again, and I say, you had a chance here to play it straight with us. You're blowing it right now. I don't want things to turn out badly for you. Maybe it's time for you to just cut your losses and for us to part company. What do you think?
All right. So I feel like there's a move happening here. Something is happening.
Yeah, something's happening. I am manipulating her, I believe.
It feels like that. Yeah.
It's right on the borderline of aggro here. I haven't actually gone to violence or threatened violence yet, though. So
yeah, it's general. It's gonna go bad for you.
Yeah, this is like you need to rethink your life choices here, Metropolis. You thought that you had this all sewn up, but you really don't. And do you want to see where that goes? Because we'll go there if you want to go there. I'm giving her an out. So yeah, I guess it is manipulated.
Okay. Yeah, do it.
Let me find my roller. Here it is. Out. Does anyone want to help me?
Yeah, anyone can help.
Oh, I will totally help because I know exactly what I'm going to do if you succeed partially.
How do you help?
My plan was if she was going to fight back, I'm going to take out one of my guns and point it at their beacon's head.
So maybe the step before that is just
unsnap your
click.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Go ahead. So you're rolling plus your history with Frankie.
Oh right, which is a 3. So is it 2d6 plus 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. You're good at helping.
So good at helping.
Oh my god.
Is this a bad thing again? Did I?
This is perfect. Well, no, it's you rolled really badly.
Oh, so it's good. Okay, cool.
It still worked out.
Yeah. So here's how it's going to work. The promise that you need to make, and this is how help factors into it, and the danger of the help. The promise is they'll level with you. She'll stop doing the whole thing, but the private conversation needs to happen between Navari and Burns for that to go through. It's just going to be a conversation, but they need that's the assurance. Like, okay, we'll trust you if you let Burns and Navari have a minute alone, and then you can go, and we can all just part ways and pretend like this didn't happen because as far as you know, it didn't.
I will agree to this conversation, but Frankie is going to stand here with her gun pointed at your beacon's head. And if I make a sound out of line to what Frankie knows is positive from me, then you're going to lose your beacon. That's
So
my...
Tyne makes like a hard swallowing noise and looks at you like, seriously, you're doing this to me?
I look back at. I'm only looking at Metropolis the whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You heard her. That's the deal.
She's like, okay, we don't need guns out on anybody, but I get where you're coming from. And she looks at you, Navarre, and she's like, she shakes her head. She's like, it's not going to mean anything to you, but this is so disappointing.
Yeah.
You two go
Okay,
explain this to her.
as
And
soon
she
as
says
they
that-
agree, I kind of give a little wink to the kid. Just a little, like, he kind of, just a little bit, just to like calm him down a little bit. And then I want to use, I read him earlier, so when I wink at him, I want to know what he's really feeling now.
He's feeling betrayed, like personally betrayed by you, as though you had like promised him something, or like this is so out of character for him to be such an asshole to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you can see him fighting back tears. Like he's like, this isn't how it's supposed to go. And like maybe to him, the whole thing about everybody forgetting everybody's a big joke and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like you forgetting whatever it is you promised to do has like broken his heart.
Did my wink do anything for him?
No, it was the opposite. It's like cruel, right? Because you're like, not only
I thought I was being nice.
yeah, no, and maybe you do, but like, yeah, not only did you just like tell someone to like threaten his life, but then you were like, haha, fuck you. You just like,
Right.
Yeah, he totally misread it. Yeah.
Yeah, and for him, like, and you maybe you get the impression that his attitude before was because he was trying to appeal to the Navarre he thought he was dealing with, right? Where he was like, yeah, we're tough and like, haha, like button chests and being tough people. And then now you're like, no, you're shit and I don't care about you. And he's just like, oh. Yeah. So he looks at you and you can see the tears in his eyes and he just like looks away. But also like, and I guess there's a moment of like pressure too, because he's like emotionally vulnerable and hurt, but no one can not look at him. Like you're all supposed to be staring at him. So he's just kind of like, you can see him like hurting out in the open, like a raw wound. And then you feel like Burns' like hand on your sleeve. Mm-hmm. And she's like, let's get this over with. Come here.
Okay.
All right. Gritch, what are you doing while these negotiations are occurring?
Contemplating ways to raise hell.
That's what we bring you for, right?
Yeah. But I feel like I just want to, at least as a player, I just want to give space for that scene to happen, and then maybe we can come back to it. And some foolishness.
Yeah, I think we have, like, Frankie doesn't really want to do this exactly, and she knows that if any bad thing happens, Navarre is going to start blowing people up. So she's not like worried about her, but she like, because that was the exchange, she takes her pistol out from under her coat and like holds it down at her side with the safety on.
Sure.
And just kind of stands there looking at Metropolis, like waiting for this to be done, essentially. Like, okay, now we're just going to kind of have a standoff while this happens.
Okay. All right. So you walk away, and Burns leads you over to one of the portables. And Brentwood, one of the other women that was downstairs, is standing like guard by the door, and she gives you this look, Navarre, like she's trying to kill you with her mind. Like she's just staring at you like she hates you so much right now. As you walk up. And Burns says to her, she's like, stand down, Brentwood. Stand down. And Brentwood just scowls, and she's like, Burns, you know this isn't right. We should have just killed her on sight. And Burns is like, hey, we're going to talk about this later. Metropolis made the call. You stand fucking guard. And Brentwood is just like, looks at you, Navarre, like, this shit isn't over. Like, maybe not today. You're going to fucking get yours. And Burns grabs the bar thing that like holds the door. They've installed like a bar over and like slides it open and like unlocks it. And as she's opening the door, she says to you, Navarre, like, don't worry about her. She's just mad about last time. And like kind of gestures for you to go inside.
I go inside and I tell Burns, if my crew wasn't outside and this wasn't already a hostile situation, I would have shot her in the head. You might want to let her know that next time. Like, you guys know me. You clearly know me. You're aware of what I'm capable of, and you're aware of, I like to blow stuff up. If she's going to look at, like, if you want to protect yourself, you need to translate that message.
So she shakes her head and she's like, honey, getting into a gunfight with you is the only thing she wants. That would please her to no end.
I'll keep that in mind. Tell me what you need to tell me.
So you walk in, and the inside of the portable, the windows have been covered with like black paint. So it's like totally dark. She flips on a light, and you can hear like a generator humming in the background. And inside, they've cleared out all the school stuff from the portable, so it's just a big empty sort of like cargo container. It's bigger than one though, like so you have some room to walk around. It's like a little classroom basically, but it's been cleared out of desks and everything. There's some desks or some tables at the back, and on them there's a bunch of guns in various states of like being taken apart and repaired. And as you scan the room, your eyes stop on in the corner like a dress, like mannequin, a dress form, and there's like an exact replica of your armor on it. And Burns kind of like follows you because she stays in your peripheral until you see it, and you can hear her like take a breath when your eyes fall on it. What do you do?
It's got all the etchings and everything too?
It's different than the armor you're wearing.
Like different etchings, but it still has drawings on it? It's
definitely your armor and definitely like has your drawings on it.
I look at her and I ask, why is this here?
She says, it's what you were wearing last time. We swapped it out when you left.
Why?
Things you didn't want to remember. The situation with Brentwood.
I don't know how I feel about what you're saying, because I'm always trying to at least, write down what I'm doing so that I can maybe remember. So why would I want to forget?
That's the thing about writing the story. And you can sense that she's like had this conversation with you before. She's not like repeating rote, but you can tell she's passionate about it, and it's a thing she's been thinking about. And she's like, that's the thing about writing a story. It's like you get to pick what goes in and what doesn't. I know you don't remember much, but trust me, there's some stuff you're better off not remembering.
I think we need to start. I'll figure out this armor in a second. I might just take it with me. This one's already damaged up, but the point is you had something to tell me, and I need to know what you need to tell me.
She nods. She's like, we sit down, and she walks you over to there's like a metal like folding chair, and next to it there's a rusted like IV stand. It's empty right now, but there's like a case next to it, and she walks over to the case and tells you to sit down.
I will stand by this chair.
Okay.
But I'm not going to sit. I have no need to sit.
So she says, I need to get you away from them so we could treat you. Just like last time, hopefully less bloodshed. Please.
Treat me for what? If I know this before, and if I'm here and I'm supposed to be listening and I'm going to forget it all, why are you not telling me?
Because you always forget. Every time you come back, you've forgotten, and I have to keep explaining to you, and I'm getting...
Too bad for you. I'm the one forgetting. If you have to do this, come on now.
So the second or third time that you were here, we made a trade. I wasn't around for that, but the last beacon told me that the deal was if you come back, you bring us things. We treat you. Maybe you don't get the sickness so bad. Your memory starts to work better. I had real high hopes for the last time, but it doesn't look like it worked this time. So that's the deal, and I know you don't remember, but I'm telling you the truth. I swear. Please, like, we're making progress. I don't think it's healthy for you to stop now.
I refuse and walk out the room.
Okay, so she like steps up to you and like she doesn't get in your way, but she like goes to like touch you, like put her hand in your arm to stop you from going, and she's like, "Please, Navari, don't. It's dangerous."
You're not giving
and, like,
me
goes to
enough
stop.
information. You're just
What
not.
else can I tell you? We've had this conversation so many times. You never listen to me.
Shouldn't that say something? And then I open the door and I
Okay.
slam it really hard in case that person is behind it, Brentwood or whatever, in
Sure.
hopes that it
Like,
like
slam it
slaps her in the
open?
face.
Okay, she's standing at a distance, but she's not facing out now. She's facing in.
Oh,
and she's,
wait, hold on. Before I leave, I'm grabbing that armor if I can. Is it heavy enough? Like,
yeah.
or
I
am
mean,
far away?
you wouldn't be able to just casually scoop it up as you go, but you could walk over to it and like just like pick it up.
Yeah, I would try to do that at least, at some point.
Okay. Sure. I mean, I think that, yeah, maybe you like start to leave and she goes to stop you and you push her out of the way, like walk over to the armor.
Yeah.
You'd like take it off. You can
I just
pull
take
it
the
up.
mannequin, the whole mannequin. Like, I'm not taking
Okay.
it off. I take the whole, I push her out of the way. I take the whole mannequin. I slam the door open and I'm walking out to my crew. I pull my grenade launcher out and I look at Frankie and I said, "We're getting out of here now. You don't have to."
Okay, so she shouts after you. She's like, "You can go, but there's some things you're not going to want to remember, and you can't come back." And you like walk away.
Yeah.
Just like, can't come back, not from that.
Yeah. I look at the kid and I say, "Just know we were never going to hurt you." And that's all I say to him because I don't, I saw him crying and I care a little bit, like just this much.
Okay, so when Metropolis sees you like walking back with like the armor in tow, Frankie, you see her. She just shakes her head like, "Well, that's a shame." She gets on her radio. She's got one of those little like shoulder radios, and she's like, "Okay, our guests are leaving," and somebody comes back over the radio, and they're like, "Well, we're not ready," and she's like, "No, we don't need to be ready. Just stop." And they're like, "Really?" And she says, "Yeah, it's over." And she takes her hand off. She's like, "By the time you get back to the boat, you're free to go."
Oh, you're muted, John.
Yeah, when Navari gets into my eye line, she has her grenade launcher out and she's carrying a dress form with armor on it.
Yeah, like her own armor. So there's like 2 suits of it now.
Yeah. I snap the safety off the pistol, still looking at Metropolis, and I'm like, well, I guess that's that. And I kind of indicate like, is she gonna step away out of our way so we just leave, or are they gonna like walk us back out the way they walked us up here, or what's her next kind of?
Yeah, so I think you say like, "Well, that's that," and she just probably just says like, looks at Tyne and looks at you and says, "We'll walk you back to the boat." And that's probably let's take a break there. I was so engrossed in the scene I kind of lost.
No, it was perfect.
Fine. So let's take a break here and then we'll come back with the last 50 odd minutes when we come back.
Awesome. Hang tight, everybody. We're in the final hour.